Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Epsom Downs here on Tuesday. It is the 25th of April, 2023. Going to look at almost all the races on the program here on Derby Trial Day, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. It's Derby Trial Day. It's the only fixture before the Oaks and Derby, coming up in about 6 weeks' time. It's a good, kind of card. It's always been one of my favorite fixtures of the year. So we're gonna look at almost all the races except the fifth race, the 410. We're just gonna skip that over. So let's look at the five races. Starting off with the first race, 150. Down the flying five. It's the Indigenous Handicap. It's Class 3 Handicap going for a $24,000 purse. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards. Horses rated 71 to 90. We have a field of 9 horses going 1,000 meters or dashing 5 furlongs on the Flying 5 turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 5-horse Angle Land. Let's go 5-4-3 in your TriCash trifecta. 5-4-3 TriCash trifecta. Top selection of 5-horse Angle Land. 4-year-old filly by Mason. Robert Cowell trains. Getsayat up in the saddle. The horse's most recent out came the 15th of March, which was a week and a half ago now, at Yarmouth. 5 furlongs in a Class 4 handicap on soft ground, and the horse finished 5th by 5 3/4 lengths that day. Had a little bit of a high weight, which probably cost him. He needed that extra turn of foot, which he didn't have, but he didn't weaken out of it either. He just kind of plodded along. Refreshing here to a fast 5. I think he'd get a better trip, and I think he could win. I thought he ran terrific races solo before that. 31st of March, 5 furlongs in a Class 4 handicap on the Tapeta. He finished 2nd by a head. He got caught late, but he had a lot of speed. He set some wicked fast fractions. Nothing bad about that race. And then before that, Chelmsford on the 16th of March, 5 furlongs in a Class 4 handicap. He won by 2.5 lengths. He had the speed to win that day all the way. An all-around easy race there, 2nd off the bench. And then the 9th of March is Sutherland, first star in 2 months, 5 furlongs in a Class 5 handicap. The horse finished 2nd by 2.5 lengths. The winner had the jump on him, but this horse with a high weight, he got down the race course well. Gets a little bit of a lower weight in the spot. I like the stand side post draw, has speed. I think it's 7-1 he's loaded. I think the 4-horse Cape Moss, your second likeliest winner for David Egan, was a winner last asking, beating Angle Land at Southwell in that Class 4 handicap, winning by a head. He was all out and closed up well to get the job done catching Angle Land. Before that, Leicester last season, 5 furlong Class 4 handicap, he ran on very heavy ground, which cost him. He finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths. His wheels were spinning that day, but coming here, the straightaway 5 is going to be a good going, so I think he should handle that. And it wouldn't surprise me if he could catch Angle Land again. We'll use him on the play spot that begins with this race. So to recount my selection for the 150, the first race from Epsom, it's the Indigenous Handicap. Let's take the 5-horse Angle Land. Give kudos to the 4-horse Cape Moss. 5-4-3 TriCash trifecta. 5-4 in your multi-race. The second race, the 225, it's the Blue Riband Trial. It's a listed stakes for Class 1 horses going for a $60,000 purse. Race for 3-year-olds here, field of 6 horses going 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the turf course. Local Derby prep here, my top selection. I'm going to go take the number 4 horse Epictetus. Pardon me, I can't speak English today. I'm going to go 142 in your TriCash trifecta. 142 TriCash trifecta. Top selection of 4-horse Epic Titus. There we go. This 3-year-old colt by Kingman. Jonathan Thady guys in train. Frankie Dettori gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in the Group 1 Vertram Futurity Trophy at Doncaster. Heavy ground, a mile on the 22nd of October. And he finished 2nd by 2 3/4 lengths that day. The winner, Augustine Rodin, had the jump on this horse, but this horse got down the race course well. I thought he wanted some extra ground. Kingman, I think of Myler, but coming to a mile and a quarter today, I think he wants it. I think he can get a good trip to win. 2 back, he ran in the Group 3 Autumn Stakes at Newmarket, 1 mile the 8th of October, and he finished 2nd by a neck. And again, he was closing up well late. He needed something more late, but not a bad race in defeat there. And then prior to that on debut, 8th of July, Newmarket, firm ground, 7 furlongs in Class 3 main race. He won by 1/4 lengths. He was all out and got the job done. A very good race. He can be forwardly paced. He's been crying out for more distance. I know he's 3-5, but he's a very likely winner. I think the 4-horse here, Stormbuster for Ocean Murphy and Andrew Balding, your second likeliest winner, was a winner 2 back in a conditions race at Newbury over the mile on good ground 16th September, winning by 5. He basically won in the ease, an all-around good race there. They took him back to the Futurity Trophy after that at Doncaster. He finished 8th by 12 lengths, and I just don't think he'd like the very heavy ground. He's going to run on yielding ground, which you should think it should suit him better. I think he wants to go longer trip. At 4-1, I'll give him an upset on the ticket, but the Gosden horse is your very likeliest winner. But to recount my selection for the second, the 225 from Epsom, it's the Blue Riband Trial. Let's take the 4-horse Epic Titus. Give kudos to the 4-horse Storm Buster, 142 Tricast Trifecta, 1-4 in your multi race. The third race, the 3 o'clock. It is the Betfred City and Suburban Handicap. It's Class 2 handicap going for a $60,000 purse. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards. Horses rated 86 to 105. 9 horses are going 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 8 horse here, Educator. Can't speak. I'm going to go 813 in your Tricast Trifecta. 813 Tricast Trifecta. Top selection of the 8 horse Educator. 4-year-old gun by Deep Impact. William Haggis trains. Tom Marquand gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 7th of October at Newmarket. Mile and a half in a Class 2 Heritage Handicap. The wheels are spinning. He wasn't staying the mile and a half. He finished 10th by 9 1/4 lengths. He weakened out of it the final few. It wasn't the day to win. Also tough horses. Cutting back to a mile and a quarter and yielding ground, which he should absolutely like. Getting Marquand up. He had more last time up, which wasn't bad either, but Marquand knows the horse better. He's in a better spot to win, and I think he'll find the winner's enclosure today. 2 back off the bench at Salisbury, 29th September, a mile and a quarter yielding ground Class 2 handicap, and he finished second by 4 1/4 lengths. He just was a little bit flat off the bench, but he got around the race course well there. And then the 12th of April last year in Newmarket, a mile and 1/8 and a Class 3 handicap. He won by a nose. He was all out. He got there in the nick of time. I thought it was a good effort there. And then the final star of 2021 came at Haydock on very fast ground. 1 mile in a Class 4 novice race, winning by a neck. He was all out, staying the trip well. You know, stepping down in class from the last race, drawing well, going the mile and a quarter he wants. I think he's loaded. I'm going to use him here. It wouldn't surprise me if the 1-horse Haravan for Frankie and John Gosden gets the job done. Getting some class relief. Most recently ran at in the all-weather champions at Newcastle, mile and a quarter, 7th of April. He finished 3rd by 7 lengths that day, and he just needed the race there. It was a little bit flat. Prior to then, the Winter Derby at Lingfield over the mile and a quarter. He finished 4th by 5 1/4 lengths behind stablemate Lord North. Lord North was supposed to win. If this horse would have beat him, it would have been, hell to break over in the stable, I guess. But this horse, he just couldn't get past him there. And then before then, Class 2 Conditions race at Newcastle over the mile and a quarter. He finished 3rd by 1/2 lengths. Kind of hit the wall late in the race. Just wasn't 100% cranked. His turf races are better. He's coming back to it today. He's going to have to overcome a weight. But, it wouldn't surprise me. At 3-1, we'll use him on the ticket. But I do wonder, is his best days behind him? He hasn't won in quite a few seasons. But, off of the B races, he is getting serious class relief. And even his B race this year could win this spot, I think. So I'll use him on the place and quad pot that begins with this race. To recount my selection now for the 3 o'clock from Epsom, it's the Suburban Handicap, City and Suburban Handicap. Going to take the number 8 horse Educator. Give kudos to the 1 horse Haravan. 813 Tricast Trifecta. 8-1 in your multi-race. The 4th race to 335, it's the Great Metropolitan Handicap. It's Class 3 handicap going for a $24,000 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. Horses rate 76 to 95. 14 horses are going the Derby trip of 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 10 horse, Madame Ambassador. I'm going to go 10-9-1 in your Tricast Trifecta. 10-9-1 Tricast Trifecta. Top selection 10 horse, Madame Ambassador, 4-year-old filly by Churchill. Mark Johnston trains. Richard Kingscote gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came to Class 2 handicap at Doncaster. Heavy ground, a mile and a half on the 22nd of October. And he finished 4th by 9 1/4 lengths that day. He had a low weight, but he was excelling that day. He had a decent turn of foot. He wanted something more, maybe a little quicker ground, but not a bad race. Coming here, facing the boys again. It's a good poster. Definitely could stay in the mile and a half. A good weight. I think this horse could run a good race and find the winner's enclosure again. 2 back in a Class 2 fillies handicap at Newmarket, a mile and a half yielding ground 1st of October. The horse won by 3/4 length, and she was all out on the front end. She quickened up nicely, and she destroyed the group of horses home. A very good run for her there. And then prior to that, settled on the Poly track or on the Tapeta, a mile and a half in a Class 4 fillies handicap, 31st of August. She finished 3rd by 2 3/4 lengths that day, and she just couldn't keep up late. Maybe the track was a little bit tiring. Sometimes it's subtle, not as it was with the 5%, but still, just couldn't keep up there. And then in Newmarket, 6th of August, a mile and a half in a Class 5 handicap, winning by a half length, beating the boys, even with the high weight. She just gamed it out to get the victory. Coming here at 8-1, I think she could get the job done. The 9-horse Nindra for Ocean Murphy and Andrew Balding wouldn't surprise me if this horse gets the job done. Most recently in a Heritage handicap at York over the mile 3/4 in October, she finished 6th by 5 lengths that day, and she just didn't stay the trip. Throw that race out. Prior to that, in a Racing League handicap at Lingfield on the Poly track over the 2,400 meters, he finished 8th by 6 lengths, and again, just kind of hit the wall there. I do like the victory before that in a handicap at Lingfield in July, and then some of the turf races where she finds a little give in the ground. She does do well. She's stepping up in some class, but at 8-1, she could definitely stay the trip. I'm going to use her as a play on the ticket also. But to recap my selection for the fourth race, 335, it's great Metropolitan Handicap. I'm going to take the 10 horse Madame Ambassador. Give kudos to 9 horse Nindra. 10-9-1 Tricast Trifecta. 10-9 in your multi race. Now the 4-10, the fifth race, we're going to skip over that race. I think it's a 2 horse race between the 5 and 6, tell you the truth. Hey Leela and Jalpa, but it's not a really good handicapping race, so we'll skip that over and head to the 6th race, the 445, the nightcap on the program. It's the Warren Handicap. It's a Class 4 handicap going for a $17,000 purse. Race for 3-year-olds only. Horses rated 61 to 80. 10 horses are going 1,700 meters, or the extended mile and 1/16th on the turf course. Top selection, I'm going to go with the 4-horse Ludo's Landing. 4-1-6 for me in your Tricast Trifecta. 4-1-6 Tricast Trifecta. Top selection of 4-horse Ludo's Landing. The 3-year-old gun by Kodiak. Mark Johnston trains. Tom Marquand gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 16th of November at Kempton. 1 mile Class 4 nursery handicap, and the horse finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He had blinkers on for the first time. I do think he won some more ground, but he got around the race course well. Like I said, he won some more ground. Not a bad race there. A month prior he ran at Kempton, 1 mile Class 4 nursery handicap, and he finished 4th by 3 lengths that day. He went down in class that day. He just wanted something more, but not a bad race for him there. It was a major improvement off his race before it came a Chester. Yielding ground, 7 furlongs in a Class 2 handicap. He finished 8th by 8 3/4 lengths that day. He was on the drive and just not excelling. Throw that race out. He just wasn't a Chester horse there. And then at Kempton, 7 furlongs in a Class 4 nursery handicap. He finished 3rd by neck. He was all out. He just missed late, but again, a terrific place that day. And then he won a Carlisle over the 7 furlongs in August. Very, very nicely going away with the victory there. Coming here at 10-1, extended mile. I think it's a good seasonal reappearance. I'm going to use him. The 1-horse Serious Look is your second likeliest winner for William Buick and George Bowie. Most recently at Nottingham on the 5th of April, he needed the race. 1 mile in a Class 4 handicap. He finished 5th by 4 3/4 lengths there and just kind of hit the wall. A little flat. Off the bench, you expect that. He saw a very heavy ground before that in the fall at Doncaster. 7 furlongs in a Class 3 handicap. He finished 7th by 8 1/4 lengths that day. And again, he just kind of hit the wall. Wheels are spinning. Not a race for him to win. And then at Linkfield in September, 7 furlongs in a Class 5 handicap. He finished 4th by 1 3/4 lengths. And he was just a little bit flat, but he got around the race course well. Guess what? He's a course winning here in April. Winning here in September last year on soft ground. 7 furlongs Class 4 novice race. Win by 1.5 lengths. He had the turn of foot to win. An all-around good race. Come back here, even with a high weight and a little bit of a wide posture. It wouldn't surprise me. We'll use him on the place pot to end off the card, or the quad pot, whatever he decides to play. But to recap my selection for the 445, the 6th race now from Epsom, it's the Warren Handicap. Going to take the 4-horse Ludo's Landing. Give kudos to the 1-horse Serious Look, 4-1-6 Tricast Trifecta. 4-1 in your multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.